What's going on, guys? This is Britter back with the Odin Project, and today we're going to get started on our first project called recipes. Now, I'm probably not going to do the whole project online, but I am going to do at least the first part, setting it up, and then I'll do another video going over my completed project. It's time to practice all of the HTML knowledge you have acquired. In this project, you are going to build a basic recipe website. The website will consist of a main index page, which will have links to a few recipes. The website won't look very pretty by the time you've finished, not unless you're into brutalist web design, that is. But it's important to keep in mind that this project is just to build your HTML chops. We will revisit this project in the future to style it up with CSS. Setting up your project's GitHub repository. As mentioned in the introduction to Git, you'll want to organize all your projects like a portfolio and link them to GitHub so it can be seen by others. If you do not know how to set up a repository, follow the instructions found in Git Basics to learn how. Create a new repo for this project on github.com and call it Odin Recipes. So we're going to go ahead and create a new one, and we're going to call it Odin Recipes. Just want to make sure that's right. And this is going to be our recipes project. Alright, add a README file and create the repository. Alright, so that is created. So now move that repository onto your local machine inside the repos folder that you previously created in the Git Basics lesson. The command should look like git clone github.com username odinrecipes.git. Alright, so let me first make sure that I do still have this repos. And let's get the terminal open. This is the part that I am struggling with here, is the terminal portion and the commit messages. CD into the Odin Recipes project directory that is now, okay, it's not on there. So move that repository onto your local machine inside the repos folder that you previously created. So we need to CD into CD slash home slash Britter slash repos. Alright, so now we're in the repos. So let's go ahead and try this here. Git clone git at github.com. We're going to put Britter develops / Odin recipes.git. Cloning into Odin recipes. Alright, and it says it's done. So let's check that out. And there it is. Cool. Alright, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Now CD into the Odin recipe, CD / home / Britter / repos / Odin recipes. Okay. Set up your README file and write a brief Okay, so we're in there, and it says set up your README file and write a brief introduction describing what the current project is and what skills you will have demonstrated once you have completed it. You can also do this as a self-reflection at the end of the project, which is a good way to review what you have learned. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so if you're having trouble, all Git commands need to be run from inside your project's folder. Did you forget to CD into Odin Recipes folder? Alright, so we got it to work, so we're good on that. And then tips on when to commit. Don't forget everything we went over in the previous lesson about commit messages. When you're building your project, you will probably end up doing several git add plus git commit cycles before being ready to push it up to GitHub with git push origin main. When writing code, it's considered best practice to commit early and often. Commit every time you have a meaningful change in the code. This will create a timeline of your progress and show that your finished code didn't appear out of nowhere. After you have entered git push origin main, switch over to your browser and open your repository in GitHub. You should now see all the files you just pushed. But I haven't pushed anything. I mean, let's go ahead and try it. So, git push origin main. Everything up to date. Yeah, because I haven't pushed anything new. So, we will try that again later. Alright, that's enough. Time to actually build stuff. Alright. Assignment. Iteration 1. Initial structure. Within the Odin recipes directory, create an index.html file. Fill it out with the usual boilerplate HTML and add an H1 heading, Odin recipes, to the body. Iteration 2. Recipe page. Create a new directory within the Odin recipes directory and name it recipes. Create a new HTML file within the recipes directory and name it after the recipe it will contain. For example, lasagna.html. You can use the name of your favorite dish, or if you need some inspiration, you can find a recipe to use here. For now, just include an H1 heading with the recipe's name as its contents. Back in the index.html file, add a link to the recipe page you just created. Example, under the H1 Odin recipes heading, write out the link so that ahref recipe/recipe name.html. Recipe title. The text of the link should again be the recipe name. Iteration 3, recipe page content. Your new recipe page should have the following content: an image of the finished dish under the H1 heading that you added earlier. You can find images of the dish on Google or the recipe site we linked to earlier. Under the image, it should have an appropriately sized description heading followed by a paragraph or two describing the recipe. Under the description, add an ingredients heading followed by an unordered list of the ingredients needed for the recipe. Finally, under the ingredients list, add a steps heading followed by an ordered list of the steps needed for making the dish. Iteration 4. Add more recipes. Add 2 more recipes with identical page structures to the recipe page you've already created. Don't forget to link to the new recipes on the index page. Also, consider putting all the links in an unordered list so they aren't all on one line. Your links won't be flashy, but for now, just focus on building them out. Viewing your project on the web. If you want to show your work, the project to others, or submit a solution below, you will need to publish your site so that others can access it from the web, rather than just on your local machine. The good news is that if you have your project on GitHub, as described above, doing this is incredibly simple. GitHub allows you to publish web projects directly from a GitHub repository. Doing this will allow you to access your project from your GitHub username, GitHub, and the repo name. There are a couple of ways to go about doing this, but the simplest is this. Make sure that the main HTML file of your project is called index.html. If it is not, you will need to rename it. Go to your GitHub repo on the web. Click on Settings button from the panel at the top. Click on Pages on the left sidebar. Click the branch from None to Main branch and click Save. It may take a few minutes. The GitHub website says up to 10, but we've seen it take up to an hour. Do not add a theme to your project or you may have Git conflicts. Instead, be patient, but your project should be accessible over the web. Obviously, substituting your own details in the link. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end this here and start working on my project, and I suggest you guys do the same, and I will be back with an update video once I am done, and I will show you guys my code and my website. And I will see you guys on the next one, and I hope you guys get this done. Bye.